What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to talk about the different builds for the hunter job, as well as the pros and cons of each build, as I have tested these builds out so you won't have to. Before I dive into the different builds for the hunter job, I just want to give a brief overview about this class and its strengths and weaknesses. When I started off as an archer, I immediately felt the advantages of playing this job. As compared to what I have experienced when I played the thief, the archer has a faster rate of farming and eliminating monsters in the wild. And to be honest, it's not even close. Even when I played the mage, I feel like the archer is a better farming machine in the early game. The double strafe skill has a very short cooldown, so you can just spam the heck out of that skill. At the same time, the bow has only one size penalty on monsters, and that is only for the large size mobs, so you can easily target small and medium monsters without any damage reduction from the size penalty in the game. Similar to the bash and sonic blow skills, the double strafe has a 0.8 skill cooldown, which makes it a spammable skill. On top of that, the archer also has a range advantage over other jobs, so before melee jobs can even come closer to their targets, the monsters are already dead from afar. And similar to the mage, which has an elemental advantage in their skills, the archer can also be a master of different elements. This is because they can use different elemental arrows to boost their damage and counter the elemental attribute of their target. And last but certainly not the least, the double strafe skill can also trigger critical damage, which makes the skill even more deadlier than before. From those things mentioned, you can already sense that this job is a great job to play in PvE. It has the damage, the range, the skills, and the elements that works in their favor. When it comes to PvP, I personally think that a hunter can also be a viable class, because once you reach the second job, you will be able to unlock the trap skills that has crowd control effects. But before we talk about the trap skills of the hunter, I just want to mention that, just like the other jobs that has an attack speed and critical build, the hunter also has a build like that, which is usually called the ADL or the Agi Dex Lock build. However, similar to the problems that the other jobs encounter when doing that build in this game, specifically in the early and mid stages of the game, that type of build is not really viable. So I will no longer talk about that build anymore, as we already know by now that the best build for all the jobs in this game is the meta skill-based builds. It's unfortunate, to be honest, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of players love the ADL build of a hunter, even me. Especially when you see your falcon do auto attacks on their own. And of course, the iconic sound of the falcon when blitzing through enemies. It's just music to my ears. Although, you can still hear the machine gun-like sound of the falcon in this game, since even though you are using skills, the auto blitz of the falcon can still trigger. So when it comes to leveling and rushing into the second job, the archer is probably the fastest job that I've tested out so far. In just a few hours, I was already a hunter after I created the character. After I changed job to the hunter, I kept our initial build, which is the spam double strafe skill. This is because this build will grow even stronger as you unlock your new skills as a hunter. As you can see on my skill tree, I immediately unlocked the Falcon Mastery, as well as the Steel Crow and Blitz Beat. The reason for this is to unlock the Falcon Strike passive of this job. This passive skill allows the Falcon to attack automatically when you are doing normal attacks or using your skills. This is a good damage boost, as the Falcon deals a decent amount of damage to the target. At the same time, this skill easily complements the stats that we are using in this build. Take note that the stats that I'm using for this build are Dex for the damage and Luck for the critical hit, and at the same time, The luck stat also scales up the damage of the auto blitz. Another skill that you need to prioritize once you change job into the hunter is the Beast Bane skill, because it will increase your damage to brute monsters significantly. This is huge because a lot of monsters that you are hunting in the early to mid stages of the game are brute monsters. At the same time, the dungeons that you are doing at this stage of the game, specifically the boss, which is Prioni, is also a brute monster. This is why after changing jobs and putting more points to those skills, the spike in my damage has been very noticeable. And because of this huge damage spike, grinding, farming, and doing dungeons have been a breeze for this character. This is also the reason why I said earlier, this is probably the fastest class that I've played when it comes to doing those things that I've mentioned. Now that we've seen the power of this double strafe build, let's now check out the other build for the hunter, which is a trapper build. Although, before I talk about the trapper build, I just want to make it clear that you can do the double strafe and trapper build at the same time. You just need to have higher job levels in order to have more available skill points. But since my character is only at level 48, I don't really have enough skill points to do the two builds at the same time. So for now, I will allocate all my second job skill points to the trap skills. So the first thing that you need to note is that, unlike other Ragnarok IPs, the trap skills in this game doesn't require you to invest your skill points on int. The trap skills in the Ragnarok actually scales its damage through the dex stat, which is very convenient to our initial build. And this is also the reason why I said earlier, you can do the two builds at the same time. So when we look at the trap skills in the skill tree, the left column is where you will get your main damage dealing skill, and that is the Blast Mine Trap. The right column is where you get your crowd control skills, from an ankle snare used to immobilize a target, to a shockwave trap that burns the enemy's SP when triggered, to the sleepy trap that inflicts the sleep status on a target, and so on. These crowd control skills are very useful and strong in both PvE and PvP. However, the first thing that I would like to mention when using this build is that this build is not ideal for auto gaming or leaving your character on auto battle, because when using a trap skill, especially on a monster, you will go near the monster's location and place the trap to where that monster is. So basically, you are becoming a melee class in this game. The best way to use or utilize a trap is when you are luring your target to the trap's location, or when the target is charging to your character. This is the reason why this is also strong in PvP, because you can place traps around yourself in order to control the melee jobs that will try to attack your character. In my opinion, the best way to use the trap build for PvE is when you are doing the Endless Tower and Hunting part, because you can easily take out a group of monsters in one trap. In PvP, this is usually used in War of Imperium. I remember back in the day when archers will put a lot of ankle snares in the Imperium room in order to stop the attackers of the castle. Overall, the Hunter job is a very good class to play in the game. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best jobs for beginners in the Ragnarok game. It can deal a decent amount of damage, it has the elemental arrows to back it up, and it has the range advantage over other jobs in the game. When it comes to the builds, for me personally, the best build to start off is the double strafe build. Once you get more skill points moving forward, you can incorporate the trap skills to your build, which makes your character a lot better when doing PvE and PvP aspects in the game. I also feel like a hunter is a much more F2P friendly character as compared to other jobs. Of course, that really depends on how good you are in progressing your characters in-game. But anyway, I really had a great time playing this job, and even though I wasn't able to play the classic ADL build, I never had a problem in leveling up and farming in this game. It's a great job for beginners as well as experienced players in the classic game. What are your thoughts about the hunter job? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more the Ragnarok content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. GG!
You're a superhero.